Hello there! Welcome to the world of Pokemon fans. This world is inhabited by dangerous things called opinions. For some people, opinions are totally subjective. Others use them for fights. Myself, well, my opinions
are fact.
Hi friends, Quill here. Welcome to our 25 subscriber special here on the channel. Now, before we get started, I know what you're thinking. First, 25? He's got 29 subscribers. I'm a little bit behind, okay? Also, I wanted to make sure that I waited until I got a shock mount for my microphone just so we could fix even more audio issues that we've been having. But as we move closer to fixing those problems, I want to thank you guys for being patient with me. For those of you who have been here for a while, you know that we've been having some audio issues, and so I appreciate your patience in getting those figured out. Second, 25. Doesn't that seem to be a little bit too early to be doing a subscriber special? And to you, I say probably, but I'm not going to get anywhere here if I don't celebrate the small victories early on. So here we are. Speaking of small victories, make sure you comment down below and let me know what sort of video you'd like to see as a 50 subscriber special, because hopefully that'll be coming up pretty soon, and I'd love to give you something really special for that. And while you're at it, why don't you click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get us a little bit closer to that goal, huh? Now let's get started. With this being my I'm just starting out, yay me sort of video, I thought it was appropriate that I rank something that we all started out with. Unless you haven't played a Pokemon game, in which case what are you doing? Go play a Pokemon game. Anyway, I figured it was appropriate to rank something that we all start out with. Starter Pokemon. I think it's really interesting when people post their opinions online about which starters are the best and which ones are the worst. But like I said before, my opinions are really facts, so I guess you could really consider this the ultimate starter ranking video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Hi friends, welcome back, and I say welcome back because this is like my third time trying this, but I think third time's a charm. This is going to work out. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with my first starter ever, and that is going to be Charmander. I'm going to place him right in the A tier. Love his design. I love his personality. I think it's a really interesting Pokemon, just not very good in his generation. That's probably why I placed it at A instead of S. In Kanto, the fire type doesn't do very well, at least definitely not towards the beginning. The first two gyms just kind of steamroll it. Alright, so I really like Mudkip. Mudkip's just going to S tier because who doesn't love Mudkips? I know that I do. It's just got some nice personality to it. I don't know. I've just always liked Mudkip. It's my favorite of the water starters. Spoiler. I just love it. Another one of my favorites would have to be Chimchar, and I'm actually even going to put that ahead of Mudkip because I just love the Chimchar line. They've got, I love the arc in the anime for the Chimchar line. I'm gonna try to keep evolved forms out of this as much as I can in my head, but Chimchar by itself is just a really cool Pokemon, and in the anime it does some really cool things. I'm gonna put Turtwig in D tier, not because I think it's a bad Pokemon. To clarify, I think all of those starters are pretty great with maybe one exception, which we'll get to here in a second. But all the first forms of the starters are really awesome. Turtwig doesn't stand out to me very much. I mean, I like turtles. It's kind of like a turtle tortoise sort of hybrid sort of thing. I know that it's slow. It's not that great. It doesn't stand out to me as much as some of the other starters do. I mean, it's got some pretty stiff competition here, so it's safely in D tier. Okay. Tepig is my starter of choice in the Unova region, strictly because of its evolutions. But for Tepig's sake and Tepig's sake alone, it's just kind of unremarkable. It's a little fire pig, which is great and all. It's just not my cup of tea. So I hate to put it in F tier. I don't like that necessarily there is an F tier, but if something has to go there, it's got to be Tepig, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, so Bulbasaur is going to go right there in B tier. It's really good in the Kanto games. I always love Bulbasaur and its evolutions. I know I'm trying to keep evolutions out of this, but with Bulbasaur, for some reason, I feel like I can't keep the evolutions out of it. I just automatically think of Venusaur, Mega Venusaur, and I love Mega Venusaur. Bulbasaur's a cool guy. Yeah, I always pick one up if I can. Let's pick up Piplup really fast. He's got some nice personality to him. So I'm gonna put him high C tier for now. I might move that later. Nothing remarkable, but nothing terrible either. We're gonna move Chespin though on probably, I don't know if I want to put him ahead of or behind Bulbasaur. I think I might put him a little bit ahead. In fact, I might put him at the end of A tier, at least for now. When Generation 6 was first announced and they showed off the starters, I remember the day specifically, I was in high school. They released the starters in the very first trailer, and I fell in love with Chespin. I couldn't wait to start the Generation 6 games and start with the Chespin. However, I didn't end up starting with Chespin because I don't like its evolutions very much. But Chespin by itself, I think, is a really cool guy. Okay, so on the flip side of that, a Pokemon that I didn't care for its base evolution form, but I really like its evolutions, that would be Froakie. When Generation 6 was first announced, again, I really didn't like Froakie. It's just it's frowning, its design's weird, the Frubble thing is strange. But we're gonna go ahead and pick up Snivy here, and Snivy's gonna go safely behind Bulbasaur right there. I know a lot of people don't like Snivy, but I kind of like its snide sort of attitude. I like its lore. Its design is pretty cool. I would argue that once it gets to Servine, it falls off a little bit in terms of design. I really like Snivy. Let's go ahead and make some enemies really fast. Totodile can go low C tier. It's annoying to me. In fact, I think it's gonna go right up here in high D tier instead. It's just kind of annoying. Its whole thing is that it's, you know, all over the place all the time in the anime, and I don't appreciate that. It was my first starter in the second generation, to be fair. However, I don't care for it as much as I do, for example, Cyndaquil, who is gonna go behind Snivy, but still up in B tier. So it's not my favorite starter by any means, and you'll see that some fire types are going to be higher than it, but it does its job. It's really cool. I don't like the Generation 2 starters as much, but as far as the Generation 2 starters go, I think Cyndaquil's a cool one. Following that up, we're gonna go ahead and put Chikorita right there. Chikorita's got some spunk to it, I guess, and I appreciate that. That's the only thing that keeps it out of the lower tiers. If you watch my Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke challenge, you know how I feel about Meganium. By the way, if you haven't watched my Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke challenge, make sure you do. I'll leave a link to it up in the cards somewhere. But in terms of Chikorita, I think it's a really cool, I think it's got some spunk to it, and I appreciate that. So in C tier it goes. We're gonna lose some more friends right now. Squirtle here ahead of Totodile, but still in D tier. I just don't like it. I don't know why. Fun fact. This is actually really funny. When I first started playing Pokemon, back when I was 10 or 11 or however old I was, I wanted Squirtle as my starter Pokemon. But when I booted up the game and I went to Professor Oak's lab and I picked a Pokeball at random, I didn't think about it, I didn't look it up, I just picked one. And then there was Charmander just staring back at me, and I was like, oh yeah, but I wanted Squirtle. And then, you know, that collection of pixels spoke to me as a 10-year-old, and so I chose Charmander. Maybe I don't like Squirtle because that's what my rival picked, but it's just never been my favorite. All right, we're moving on to Rowlet because I really like Rowlet. I love that it's a little puffball that flies around and gets into trouble and that sorts of thing. I love its animation in the games. I think it's really expressive and it has a lot of little quirk. Rowlet is definitely my starter of choice. Following along the Generation 7 train, Litten is a really solid Pokemon. I love its design. I like its little gimmick of the fire hairballs. Just the thought that they could be on fire for whatever reason cracks me up. I think its design is really cool. I really wish it would have been a fire poison type. I think that would have been awesome, but Fire Dark is awesome also, and Incineroar's just awesome. I keep saying awesome, right? We're gonna go ahead and pick up Popplio here. Popplio, I'm gonna place him ahead of Cyndaquil. Popplio's a cool Pokemon. I don't like it as much as Primarina, but I mean its balloon gimmick is kind of cool, and you know, it's a good starter. I'm gonna lose some more friends here. Trico definitely goes to the top of C tier, but that's all the higher it's going. I really love Sceptile and Grovyle. I think Trico's a little bit of a letdown. I just think it's bad. It only knows Absorb for so long, and it just feels like forever before it can actually be usable. As a starter, I want something that's gonna be useful off the bat. Something that I can switch to when I'm training up my other Pokemon and know that they're gonna be able to take out whatever threat is on the other side of the field within one hit, and that's just not the case with Trico. I think his design's pretty cool, but just doesn't do it for me in the usefulness department. It was my first Generation 3 starter, so I really can't complain too much about it. I don't like Pikachu. Maybe it's because it's so common, but what can you really say about it? As a starter, I don't necessarily care for it because it doesn't evolve. And I know they tried to give it special little moves in the Generation 7 remakes, but yeah, I think it goes there in D tier, just behind Squirtle. As a mascot, I like it a lot better than I do as a starter. As a starter, it's a little bit underwhelming. The same kind of goes for Eevee, but I like Eevee a lot, so it's gonna be a lot higher on this list. Like I said, my list, my rules. Yeah, I think it goes up there in B tier. Like I said, a little bit underwhelming as a starter because it can't evolve in the Let's Go series, but I just like Eevee, and I like the moves that they gave it. They sound really stupid, but in practice, they work a lot better. Like the Splishy Splash or whatever. Or that's not what it was called. It's like Bouncy Bubble or something. I don't know. The moves are kind of stupid, but Eevee is really cool. I will always have a place in my heart for Eevee. Torchic is going to go a little bit below Cyndaquil. I think its animations are quirky. I like that about it. Other than that, it's just kind of like a fire chicken, and that's cool and all, but it doesn't stick out as much. It would need to be in a higher tier, if that makes sense. A C tier is good for it because it does its job, it does it well, and I can't really complain much more about it. I didn't realize how much I disliked water starters until I did this. The water starters are just getting trampled right now. In terms of Oshawott, we're going to place it right here above Chikorita, but below Piplup, it's just kind of there. We're actually going to jump Froakie on up above. Yeah, we're going to jump Froakie up above because I really do like Froakie once I grew to like it a little bit more. Fennekin. This is going to be controversial because a lot of people don't like Fennekin, but the reason that people don't like Fennekin, I think, is for its evolutions. But Fennekin by itself, I think, is really cool. I like it loved Fennekin in the anime. I thought that was really awesome. And we're going to go ahead and place... I don't like Scorbunny. I don't like Scorbunny very much at all, in fact, and so it's gonna take dead last here, I'm afraid, friends. It's kind of stupid. It's in the same vein as Totodile for me, except worse because it's got a stupid name, Scorbunny. I hate it. I'm sorry for any Scorbunny fans out there. I know there are a lot of you. I don't like it. I don't like the name. I don't like how it hops around, and I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me, and like I said, this is my list, so it's gonna go back down there in F tier, and I'm gonna upset some people that way. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pick up Sobble here. I don't know enough about Sobble to really place it too low or too high. Sobble's gonna sit somewhere in that area. Things get a little bit gray in that area. I think that's where it's gonna be, and in fact, I'm gonna bump up Fennekin a little bit. I really do like Grookey. It was very, very similar to the Chespin thing, where it's like, oh my gosh, Grookey is so cool compared to the other two. I think he's got some neat little gimmicks that they can pull off with him. I like the fact that he might be based off a musician sort of thing. I really enjoy playing and singing and listening to music, so I think that really speaks to me in that way, and maybe that's why Grookey's so high. But I also like his colors. He's colorful. In that original trailer, it looked like he was there on top of the world. I just loved it. Will I pick Grookey? We'll find out. I want to see some later evolutions before I make that final decision, but yeah, Grookey's a cool guy. All right, let's go ahead and even this out really fast because it's bothering me. Put Bulbasaur up there because it really can go up there, let's be honest. Is that good? I think that's good. All right, friends. Well, if you ever wondered what the definitive ranking of all of the starters are, there you are. You have it. Like I said, my opinions are set in stone, and they are fact. So there we are. I wanted to thank you guys so very much. All 25 of you, 30 at this point. Starting out is really, really slow and can be very disheartening when you go for several days without a new subscriber. My good friend Demon Atlas and Cryptids, you know, they have namesakes in our Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke, as well as a new subscriber, Philly D. Thank you so much for the new channel art. That's really awesome. You guys make this worth it and make it more fun for me because it's obviously more fun when I get to interact with you guys. But you guys are keeping me going, so I wanted to thank you all for that. But without further ado, friends, I think that's it for this little sit down and hang out session. So as always, see you next time.